Hello, welcome to this podcast. My name is Beatrice Marse. I am a singer-songwriter from France. So today, I've come to talk to you about a subject that, well, I know I've mentioned it before on previous podcasts, but actually I've never done, I don't think I've ever done a whole podcast on that subject. I want to talk about the flow. And I have to say, and I remember I said that before. When I first started recording things, um, I knew I had to work on things so I could stay in the flow and do the work, and it was working. But at the time, I didn't know that this was the word I should have associated with what I was doing at the time. I was just like, deep inside I knew that I had to do certain things so for in order for me to record and be able to actually work easily, and do the thing. So at the time, I have to say, and I think this is the main point of this podcast really. At the time I had to say I I was very much on the external things that will allow me to be in the flow, as opposed to what I do now and what I know now, because now I'm working on the internal things that will allow me to be in the flow. So it started like I would say like 30 years ago, and this is when I was doing it unconsciously. Then it came back something like 20 years ago, where I was still doing it from the what I will call an external point of view, and then now this is now, and the difference between then and now is that now I'm just to put it plain, is that I'm just kind of I'm working on myself. I've realized that I needed to work on myself and take care of myself, and it would be then easier for me to do whatever things I wanted to do. And this came about with my health issues in 2014. And so if you've subscribed to that podcast or my YouTube channel called Beatrice Marse, you know the deal already. So basically, yes, in 2014 I realized that if I wanted to actually get out ill and to live with no pain or little pain, I had to do something, because the doctors were not really helping me out of the, the, the mess I was in medically, I would say. So I did try. I started to do a few things. First of all, read about my illness and try to see I could actually do things so that could help me. And then I have to say, down the line, I've actually became a vegan. Okay, and there was something I've been doing for many years, and it's been like something over 30 years, on and off. I was reading about psychology and psychiatry. Not I'm not so much into philosophy, but more like psychology and psychiatry. And I have to say, like over 30 years ago, I kind of went. It all started when I realized that I went into a deep end. I was depressed, so I wanted to understand, because no one around me would actually tell me really what it was, but I knew that the way I was feeling at the time was wrong. So to me, I started to read about human behavior somehow. Went into psychology and psychiatry, and then a few years down the line, I realized that actually I wasn't feeling uh, that well at the time, because basically I went into a deep depression. I managed to actually get me out of the thing without seeing a doctor, and don't ask me how somehow, but that's what I say. That's what I say. I've got that survival thing inside me that which is running deep. That's what I can say. So this is where well, like to be like, so 6 years ago I started to actually try to start to work on myself. And I have to say that and I finally went into the spiritual side of things. So I'm not saying religious, I'm saying spiritual side of things. And I have to say that, and this is why I'm about what I'm going. This is why I'm saying right now is that being in the flow, it's an inside job. Really, it's 100% an inside job. So you need to work on yourself. You need to feel at ease, at peace with yourself. It has nothing to do with the outside thing or the material things, which will. It's not that you will not create, but to me, you will not be in full speed if you don't actually work well, on yourself spiritually inside yourself. So yeah, so I went into the spiritual bandwagon, and and I have to say also, I've since last November, beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December, I started to do some yoga as well regularly. So every day I do some Bikram yoga, to say, well, that's it, to say the least. And basically health wise, it just helped me. And I have to say, I have more peaceful, more, and in terms of mobility, to me it's a big deal. It's much better than it was before. But the thing is, somehow I'm more peaceful. I have to say, by changing the way I'm doing things and changing the things I eat, I have to say that ah, my sleep was better. I was somehow less anxious, even though I still got spot coming up from time to time, and just like keep scratching them because there's a lot of things going on around me. But somehow before, and I have to say that somehow it's just even if my right now my world is falling apart, uh, I have to say that it's not that I'm feeling good about it, but I kind of managed to actually deal with it a lot more, it, a lot more easily, because I went into that state of mind. So the state of mind allows me to recognize the fact that sometimes I shouldn't do anything in terms of music, in terms of art. I shouldn't actually create because I'm not in a space where I should create. And this is new to me because I remember as far as like 20 years ago when I started again to do it. Somehow it's true that when I wanted to do something, but I kind of somehow force myself to actually do it, which is kind of different. So I was pretty pleased to this date. Even though I said I was going to listen to this album, but I did not listen to it yet. But I was pretty pleased with the work I had done at the time. But I have to say, I was very much into the external things regarding my flow. So when I talk about external things, um, against the internal thing about the flow, is that to me the external things, it's it's the place where you create, maybe the equipment you're using. But what I'm saying is that I've been creating in places you will never believe. So my home studio were never there. Oh, there have always been some kind of bedroom studios. They've never been the state of the art things. They've never been shiny. And as you can see on the video, it's my place is always kind of a mess. So it's good and bad. But when it comes to acoustics, it's kind of helping a little bit if you know a thing. So having a lot of things in the room just help a little bit with acoustics. So yeah, I've never had I never had externally, I never had the things that I thought I should have to actually do the work I wanted to do. Never, never, ever. I made some compromise so I can get some work done, but never did it to the flood the way I wish I could do it. But it never prevented me to actually do anything about it, meaning basically creating. So to me, it's not anymore about and because of the equipment I'm using right now, it's not about the equipment, it's not about the external thing, it's not about really your environment, as long as you are at ease in the place you actually create. That's the main thing. It has to be yours. It has to be you. It doesn't have to be in pristine condition if you're a messy person. It has to be. It has to reflect your place of work. Has to reflect the person you are, and that's the most important thing that will allow you to actually be in the flow, work with the flow, and stay in the flow. That's what I can say. So yeah, so and it's true to me. I realize now because I'm actually reading a book from I can't remember the name of that guy, but I have to say for the past yeah, 2 or 3 weeks I've been between quotes reading books between quotes, spiritual books, some kind of things like that. So I and I realized, yeah, I was thinking about it this afternoon, and I was thinking, yeah, basically, this is what being in the flow it's all about. What spirituality it's all about. And it has nothing to do with material side of things, and it shows because if you go into YouTube and watch some videos, you realize some people can create music, full records with next to nothing, no instruments whatsoever, and they can make you a tune that will rock your world, so to speak. So yeah, and you need to be, as I said before, you need to be square with who you are. You need to know who you are, truly are. I accept the fact that you may not be perfect, that there are things you would like to do but you can't do it, but with the things you have lying around you, you might be able to actually create something, do some art. And this applies well. I'm saying a singer songwriter, but to me, yeah, and because I'm getting deeper into that spiritual stuff, to me now it's more than a lifestyle. I've said it in my last podcast, but it's very much a lifestyle. So I don't I don't think of it that much as, even though it's true that I'm craving for what Behringer crave. That's it. And I would like to go really deep into modular synthesis. So I think at the beginning of the year, I thought I was ready. Then I was derailed, and then with that crisis we are all living in right now, it's just a bit. It's kind of been confusing, but to me, it's another time to reflect again because now more than ever, I'm forced to think about what's essential in life, essential in the art I'm creating, where I want to go, how I see things, and I have to say I realize that even though for the past few years I definitely had to go to the minimalism minimalism phase, I would like to say, and having said that, I'm not going to call myself a minimalist because I guess somehow I would be a fraud. But uh, I have to say that I had to think for the past like few weeks. I really had to think what's essential in my life, what should I get rid of things, which thing I should get rid of, and I did manage to get rid of things. It basically, to translate it that way, it allowed me to actually have to earn some money so I can put food on the table, as simple as that. And yeah, it's just like it to me. It's very much a time to reflect. And the reason why I'm doing that podcast is that I will encourage you to actually sit back, try to forget about the things that you cannot control, because right now we are in crisis, and somehow there is nothing you can do to like try to get out of it. You need to wait until that thing it's over, but you need to step back and say, okay, there are things I can sort out right now, and things I cannot sort out. And the main thing, there's no point in worrying about things where you have no control over them. Basically, that's as simple as that, and it would make your life much more easier. So yes, to me, it's a time to reflect, and I will encourage you. It is if it is a real film of a podcast. I will encourage you to really look inside you, try to see how you can work on yourself, how you can how you usually go into the flow, and try to identify if you being in the flow is very much associated with external things like you need some piece of equipment, you need to have like I don't know. I'm gonna about to say something silly. I hear 200 square meters of real estate to actually build a studio. I don't know, but are they deep inside you? Do you think that it's really essential for you that you should have the last best laptop, the last best software, the last best piece of equipment? Or can you still do what you want to do with what you've got around you? And maybe you will realize that what you have lying around, it's enough for you to be in the flow. If you work hard enough on your inside job, if you do the inside job right, I would say. So it does. What that crisis? I was doing some shopping the other day. Actually, it was the beginning of the week, and I said to myself, here again, here's another lesson of real humility. I need to be, yeah, it's a time again to be humble. And I said to myself, did I forget to be humble? Even though I was like, as I said before, in 6 years ago, I was in a similar situation. I was humbled, and I asked myself this question at the beginning of this week: did I forget about it? And the thing is, the answer was easy to me. I said, no, it's not that I've forgotten about it, but I wasn't too much into that inside job, and and I knew, yeah, and I didn't know how to actually generate the flow maybe that well. And the thing that right now I'm deep into spirituality is much easier for me to actually work. And it's kind of a magic because at the beginning of it, as I say, something was wrong uh, back in November 2019, and it just kept on coming, I would say, somehow. And then that crisis comes up, and then synchronicity maybe. I have a stack of books that I need to read, and I went into my stack, and I actually found again those books and decided to read them. And basically, it's dead on time. It was the right time for me to read those books, and I'm reading another one today. I can't remember the title, but it's something The Matrix. I think the name of the author is Barden. I can't remember. Greg Barden. I'm not too sure, but don't quote me on that. So, but yeah, it's just like it's very it's very timely, I would say. So yes, if you want to work on your flow, if you want to be in the flow when you create something, uh, whatever type of artist you are, what I'm saying is that you really need to work on yourself. Okay. And I have to say that I'm among these people. I was guilty for many years. I wasn't working on myself. Uh, uh, wasn't Maybe I wasn't selfish enough to work on myself, but basically I was lost in translation. That's all I can say. Right now, I can honestly say I was lost in translation, and now it's not that I'm selfish, but I was yeah, I was humbled. Yeah. Lesson in humility, and this is another lesson right now. I'm living, and I realized that yeah, you need to yeah. I started to done the work, which is good, and I can see the results right now. But yeah, I wish I could have done that earlier on, because I know that 30 years ago I was kind of on the right path, and then I got confused. And the reason why I got confused because I was listening to too many people around me, and I was living the stereotype of what society should say was saying I should do, and I was like, and I got confused. And it's silly because I was confused before for a very brief amount of time when I decided to actually record my music for the first time. I was kind of on the right track, and then I was distracted again. And then 20 years ago, I kind of intended to do it again. I was 100% distracted, but I managed to do something, namely record this album 20 years ago. And today, in 2017, I decided to do it again. I knew that in terms of how I had my brain was somewhere else. I was humbled. When I came to that thing, I was humbled because I was in pain anyway. And I would say today it's yeah. I think basically it's the beginning of a new era, not only for the world but for me anyway. So that's it for me. I was ranting today about the flow. Stay in the flow and please do yourself a favor. Work on yourself, and it's gonna affect everything around you, not only your work but the people around you, and in the positive way, and namely the world. You're gonna send some good vibes to the world. That's it for me. Thank you for listening to me or watching me if you're on YouTube. And hello, and well, you might hear from me again pretty soon. I hope. I don't know, but soon. Bye. Take care.